qual facciamo in per amor, a lui fossi io di penna.
All right, hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Easter Sunday. Taking time away from your family to, well, put the most important things in priority, which is Alchemy League Season 6, of course. We are a 1v1 round-robin Age of Empires tournament on custom maps. We got players from 1K all the way up to like 2K4 or something like that. And today's content is going to focus on 2 sets from this league. As always, the sets are play all 2, so we'll be looking at 4 games total. I try to choose the games and the players such that they're all unique, so every single game is on a different map, and there are no repeats of players featured throughout the cast. So the 2 games with 2 players and then 2 games with 2 different players. So every round we have a map of the round, and map of the round for the first set is Gugong, and the map of the round for the second set that we're going to watch is Shimmerpool. I'll explain a little bit more what that means in greater detail later. I want to show you the players real quick, as well as their map drafts. So today we're going to see Max Power versus Maxi McCheck, and then we're going to see Alexander versus Metal Mania. So these are their map drafts. Let me just bring up the skills for the players and I'll show you. So this is the tournament ELO that's calculated for each of the players. In the first set, we'll see Maxi McCheck versus Max Power 973. They both have Max in their name, which is kind of unusual. Usually you don't have two players that have Max, the same prefix in the name. But there they are. So upper 1500s and upper 1600s for tournament ELO calculation on these guys. Maxi McCheck is Czech, and Max Power 973 is Italian. So these guys have similar time zones. Shouldn't have too much lag with them. And then in our other set, the second set that we're going to watch, it's going to be Metal Mania versus Alexander. So similar skill level, upper 1500s, lower 1600s for these guys. Really anything can happen when ELO difference is this close. The matchmaker tries to put you against whoever is the closest, but depending on where you are in the stack, it'll determine whether or not your opponents are higher or lower skilled than you. So, for example, if you're Niaz up at the top, the matchmaker has no choice but to give you lower ELO opponents. And conversely, if you're Leon Roma at the bottom, then it has no choice but to give you higher ELO opponents. And the opponents that it gives you are not necessarily the nearest, but staggered such that everybody gets 4 opponents in this case. So these guys are from, Metal Mania, I believe, is from Argentina or Colombo, somewhere in South America. And Alexander is from India, if I remember correctly. So a little bit bigger of a time zone difference there. But Alexander likes to get his sets played earlier on, which I appreciate in the round, in case there's some kind of scheduling difficulty or they have to reschedule, which is smart. So let's talk about their map drafts now. So the maps that we're going to see, the map that we definitely will see in the first game is Gugong. They have to pick that. That is map of the round for round 2, which is what these guys are playing in. And then they take turns banning maps until only one remains, and that one is the Thaw. And so I'll talk a little bit more about the maps in greater detail later, or for the other set anyway. Or as we are in the game, I'll talk about the maps a little bit. That's really what I mean to say. So Max Power versus Maxi McCheck, the way that the Civilization draft works are the admins ban 5 randomly, and then they globally ban 2 of their own, randomly or probably not randomly, and then they pick 2, snipe 1, and then pick 2 more. So the possibilities that we're going to see out of Max Power today are Lithuanians, Ethiopians, and Mongols, and then Maxi McCheck could be Vietnamese, Khmer, or Malians. Hey, Jasuki, welcome. Okay, so now that we've gotten the Civilization possibilities out of the way, and we've given you a brief overview of Gugong and the Thaw, let's get into the game. So, Gugong, what is it? Let's uncheck the Fog of War, change the overlay to Age of Empires, and get started. So, Gugong was made for Alchemy League by Biscuits. Biscuits is a relatively new map maker. I think there was talk of him making a map for us last season, but we changed directions and we didn't go for the German map pack, so therefore Biscuits didn't have anything to do. He even didn't sign up for the league last season because he thought he was going to be busy making maps instead. But we were able to get this one out of him. This is kind of like our version, one of our versions of Arena. You can see that we've got these 2 big wood lines, and this particular generation gives the wood lines forward. Some nice... We already see Maxi McCheck as the Vietnamese coming forward and walling in the gates. So the reason... And normally you would think that this is crazy, right? But there are 2 mitigating factors for why this is not quite as crazy as it may seem. Now, of course, Max Power, a.k.a. GDR Mark Landers, he can see this. So he's going to know what Maxi is doing. The reason that this is not quite so crazy is, number one, because it's Maxi, and Maxi does crazy things like this. It's part of how he plays. So that's number one. But number two, actually, there are these boars outside of your walls. And we've seen players in the past actually come and explore out here. And if you're careful, you can actually lure these boars in. You send a villager out, the villager shoots the boar, and then the boar chases the villager. We've actually seen villagers without loom successfully complete this boar lure because the scout was there to help. The scout blocks the boar and prevents it from reaching the villager, effectively slowing it down while the boar is still aggroed. It's kind of tricky. It would be difficult for some people to do it. Probably people that are faster at clicking will have an easier time doing it. Generally higher skilled, so-called skilled players or higher elo players will have an easier time luring these boars in. But I think you could do it at most skill levels that the league hasn't. Look at this. It looks like Max Power 973 is indeed going to come out to get this boar. Now, Maxi has seen this villager. He's seen both of these villagers. So the other reason that walling the gates is not as crazy as it looks is because he wants to prevent his opponent from being able to lure the boar. What is this? We got this villager chasing the scout, and Maxi's going to send his scout back. But if Maxi were to successfully wall off this gate, then what that would do is it would force Yellow losing his scout. Oh no, that is actually a big loss. So now Maxi's objective is to wall this in, because if this gate is walled off, his opponent has to delete a wall segment to get out here, which puts a weak point in his wall. So I don't know what Maxi's going to do here. If he's going to try to quick wall on this corner. Yep, there it is. So Maxi very, very quick with the quick walls. And his opponent's kind of a little bit frazzled, like he's got a really kind of unorthodox boar lure over here, microing everybody. Maxi going to bring the scout home. But so far, I'd say that Maxi is ahead. He's prevented his opponent from coming out here. He knows that he killed his opponent's boar, so now he's going to mill the center, and he's going to have a lot of extra food from that. But his opponent has shanked down this wall, and his opponent's now going to come and fight for the food resources here. He's going to invest heavily in it with these villagers. And that may or may not work out so well for Maxi, but certainly this is not I don't think this is the strategy that he intended. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry, this is a yellow mill. So yellow has made the commitment to mill this. Yeah, it is a crazy match already. So, therefore, does Maxi know about that mill, though? I don't think he does. I'm sorry, I misspoke. That was a yellow mill. Yeah, so Maxi does not know about the mill out here, which is unfortunate, because if he did know about the mill, he would probably send some feudal age military to mess with this. So, Marklanders, he really wants this. And what's Maxi doing? He's just building a random palisade wall there. Maybe to tell him if his opponent comes around this way. The palisade will give him slight amounts of vision. But he's going to take the deer and he's going to take the boars. I think. Yellow is. Sorry, not Maxi. Maxi doesn't have enough around. But it's kind of unfortunate. You know, Maxi invested everything into walling. And he walled basically all of these gates except for the one that Yellow wants to use. So that's somewhat unfortunate for Maxi. So, let's talk about their civilizations. Ethiopians versus, oh my goodness, a Tetris mining camp. No. Alright, so Ethiopians versus Vietnamese. So, as Vietnamese, Maxi, of course, knows exactly where his opponent is. That's why he likes him. I actually think it's kind of a waste on this map to pick Vietnamese. Uh-oh. What is this? So, Maxi's on his way up to feudal age. He sends the 5 villagers forward, and he begins shanking this wall. Now, in theory, you should be able to fit 4 villagers on a wall segment, and then you can have 1 villager building the tower. And actually, the best place to build that tower is right in front of the gate there, so that they have to open the gate to get at you. If only Maxi knew that his opponent was greedily taking all of the hunt in this location. He could send feudal age military down here, but he doesn't know. So he's trying to get in. He's trying to get in up here. Now, he's going to be up to the feudal age in just a few seconds. His opponent is about halfway up. So he's going to have about a minute advantage on his opponent. And so 4 villagers attack the wall. GDR Mark Landers is repairing the wall. And now Maxi's going to build the tower. So Mark Landers, a.k.a. Max Power, is going to withdraw. I think that this map is a good candidate for a tower rush. And I'll tell you why. The wood's all right here. If Maxi can deny this wood with a little bit of a technology advantage for at least a short time, his opponent is not feudal age yet. So at the very least, this tower will go up. If Maxi can deny the wood with towers, he can win the game. His opponent will have to come out here and take these really crappy wood lines, and nobody wants to do that. But meanwhile, his opponent is freely collecting resources here, and I think Maxi needs to make an archery range and come down here with like 2 or 3 archers. 2 if they have fletching, 3 if they don't. And micro and be super annoying. Okay, so here's Maxi. He's going to build another tower here to help him get in and deny some of the wood resource. He'll probably build another one here. I don't know how much luck these towers are going to have. Might be a little bit late. It could be very effective, but his opponent is taking resources down here. And Maxi, I don't think he knows about it. No, he doesn't know about it. He does not know about it. He's very, very much focused on doing the maximum amount of damage possible. He actually has 2 towers. And these 2 towers have fletching, and they're able to range Mark Landers' tower or Max Power's tower. Hey! Crazy Joe, welcome. Alright, so Max Power, aka Mark Landers, is just investing in repairing this watchtower. And he just gets fletching so that he can fire back on these offending towers, which is important. So this will require Maxi to do something. He's got the 5 villagers garrison in this tower. I don't know that that's the best use of the villagers. I feel like they could be trying to shank on this wall somewhere, somehow trying to get in. But I think that Max Power is just going to go up to Castle Age behind this. Yeah, he's got free reign on the food here. Maxi hasn't found it. Maxi continuing this frontal assault. I almost think that his first tower would have been better off like right here, and the second one would be better off right here or something. So, because otherwise this is kind of requiring at least 2 towers to cover this wood line. And Max Power, not really too affected, but I guess he did have to build a new lumber camp. You know, he is investing in the defense of this wood line. So, you know, I guess that is something. Maxi is doing damage because the original lumber camp was here. The villagers, they were getting shot at. They weren't getting killed or anything, but you can see there are a bunch of wounded villagers here. And Maxi gonna build some palisades. What is it? Oh, he's building another watchtower. Okay, so he wants to continue to harass the wood choppers. Max Power is gonna have a watchtower of his own up, and again, Maxi just totally ignorant to the free economy damage he could be doing down here. But Max Power disastrously is up to the Castle Age because of all this food here. So I don't know what Maxi's going to do when he sees that. He may call the GG, or he may sell all of his resources and click up himself. Let's check his resource count. He's still making villagers. He's got... His scout is literally exploring everything except for this. Which is kind of important. I mean, he sees the boar here. He probably just doesn't know that his opponent went there. But he's found the extra stone. He's found the relic and the extra gold areas. There's generally a lot of gold areas. There's 4 gold areas, and then there are 2 other different types of lands. It's kind of random what they could be here and here. So even though the map looks somewhat static, it's actually kind of random, which is nice. Alchemy League requires maps to have that sort of random element to them. We don't want players knowing that if they pick any civilization, they can do the same thing on our maps all the time. You know, we want that person to be that filthy Huns picker and then get a map generation and be like, oh, whoops, this isn't the map, you know, this isn't the map I thought it was. I should have banned this. You know, we want that kind of thing. We want to throw people curveballs. Okay, so Max Power over here with an archery range. I guess he wants to keep that archery range secret or something. He's got a lot on stone. This would imply that he intends to build a castle like right here and clean up this tower rush. Okay, so Maxi's going to see that Max Power is in Castle Age, and if you're Maxi, you abuse the market to try to get up. Let's see. Let's click on this actually. Okay, so villager count. So Maxi actually does have a villager lead over Max Power, but he's also hasn't clicked up yet. So that villager lead will shrink when he clicks up, which is now. So he knows he needs to get up as soon as possible. His opponent is building a siege workshop. I don't think he can... Okay, he actually can see that siege workshop. So he knows that these towers are limited. He knows that he can't do much with them. I actually think Maxi would have been better off with Koreans on this map, or some other tower rushing civilization, based on the nature of how predictable the starting locations are. He could have predicted, if he were playing as Koreans, and he knew that he started here, he would have known that his opponent would be just over here. So I don't really think Vietnamese give him many benefits here. They could have been more useful on another map. He's trying to get this tower down. Alright, so let's see what kind of resources his opponent has. Okay, so his opponent has 5 on stone now. I don't understand why he was so heavily on stone earlier. He could still be working on a castle. He may have just, you know, felt like, okay, you know, I need to build another tower, so I'm going to go on stone, and that's going to put me behind on stone, but I do want a castle eventually. His opponent is training archers, and he's also making a mangonel. He's town-centered this area out here. Note that this rock terrain is unbuildable, which is kind of annoying, so he can't actually put farms down here. He could put maybe a couple over here. Jasuki says, this map changed so the player base are in this position all the time. When I originally tested it, player positions changed a lot, but the matches I've seen are with this positions. And when I played it, it was with this position also. Really? I'll have to check that out. Because it was a requirement that the positioning of the town centers be somewhat random. He may have reevaluated the value of the rotations, but I do know that I have seen from casting there's been different radii. So the distance between this pagoda with a couple of relics to this town center, this distance has changed. What in the world? What is this? Oh, this is one of those new Fire Lancer type units. I have no idea what those are good for. I guess they have some kind of charge attack that allows them to create a beautiful spectacle before getting killed. So this game was played on the new patch, so that means that we're going to see some new units, and that's pretty exciting. From the Vietnamese, at least. I don't think the Ethiopians will have any new units. And now that the tower goes down, I guess Max Power is not in that big of a hurry. Okay, here are the rest of the villagers. And I like how Maxie's continuing with this tower rush, just to be ridiculous. So he's going to build a tower here. He has gotten the guard tower upgrade, and he's building this castle. It's not really much more that the villagers can do, and now Maxie is going to find this location. So he's going to scout this out, and he's going to be like, oh, shoot. My opponent has been down here taking all these resources the whole time. Well, that's annoying. Now, look at this, guys. This is the new monastery architecture for the African civilizations. It looks like a rock church. What do you guys think about that new monastery? Do you guys think that's a good shape for a monastery, or do you think it's kind of blech? I think it adds... I appreciate that the devs are adding spice to it. I guess this is probably the closest thing to a monastery that the African civilizations have in terms of architecture, so it makes sense to borrow from the rock church. Alright, Maxie adding another town center. He's in trouble. He's got mangonels pressuring this barracks. I actually don't really know why the Fire Lancers. I don't understand the Fire Lancers at all. And I also don't understand why Maxie is still here with these villagers. I mean, surely at this point, he must realize that his opponent is probably taking wood somewhere else. Now, if Maxie could get a tower here, I suppose it could be annoying because his opponent is taking gold. Let's see what Maxie knows. I mean, he knows there's a gold there. So it would be justified. Okay, and now Maxie actually knows that there are villagers there taking gold. So surely Maxie, if he really does want to continue, yeah, and he'll build a tower. He'll build a tower there. But Maxie's, you know, he's kind of 5 villagers down from his opponent that we know of. Actually more than that, because Max Power has 7 more villagers than him, and 5 of Maxie's villagers are being used to create aggression. And the guard tower does go up, and Max Power, he actually loses a villager from that, so the guard tower could be justified. But I think Max Power is going to keep trying to get in. Oh no, wait, Maxie built a guard tower here, so Max Power has prepared a battering ram. And let's see. He's going to take his gold here instead. He has no more gold in his base. That is not, you know, I mean, he has this gold, but there's a guard tower here. And Maxi's still going to try to get in. He doesn't realize that his opponent is just expanding out across the map and taking resources somewhere else. That's generally a mark of a skilled opponent. You know, somebody that will know when to fight it and when not to fight it. You know, when it's more favorable just to go off and take resources somewhere else. Alright, Max Power getting the crossbow upgrade, and he's headed south. He's also collecting some relics. Let's see how many relics he has. I don't think he's going to trigger a relic victory. Maybe he gets all the relics. He's gotten 2 of them so far. Okay, so Maxi now pivoting, and he's deciding I can do some damage down here, which is smart. So Max Power gonna take wood here, which I think is kind of interesting. He's just kind of given up on this big wood line here, even though he could send his ram after that. And he's making more mangonels, probably to deal with the towers. Because, you know, Maxi is not really making any military besides towers. He's just tower rushing. Okay, so here comes another tower. Crossbowmen are here to deny it. Maxi better delete that. I don't know if he got to deleting that or not. Looks like Max Power is saving up resources to go up to the next age, actually. He's got 1,000 food and 1,000 gold. Oh. Mangonel gets hit hard, but Max Power manages to pull it back in time. So Alchemy League, as I may have implied earlier, is played on standard victory conditions. So you can win with relics, you can win with a wonder, or you could win with conquest. You do not have to win with conquest, though. And we like that because it increases the number of win conditions that you have. Now, not many people have won with a wonder victory. I think it's quite rare in Alchemy League to win using wonders. But it has happened before. Somebody did win. I don't know if the wonder actually reached the countdown. Maxi finding this wood line and building a tower here, and Max Power is just like, yeah, I'm not gonna fight that. I'm just gonna go away, which is smart. And he'll probably set up over here on these bushes. These bushes have 300 wood on them apiece, actually, so it's a decent deal. And he's going to take wood here. So that's the disadvantage about towers on the outside, is that the wood lines are small, and so you don't get as much value from a single tower as you would like with a big wood line. So it looks like Maxi is dangerously microing against this mangonel, but he does manage to snipe the monk. And Maxi has good archer micro. I think everybody knows a player out there that just likes to micro archers. This mangonel, though, just standing ground and getting killed by the Vietnamese crossbowman for no reason, which is unfortunate. So Max Power with 3 relics, but he's going to be Imperial Age in just a few seconds, so he definitely has a big advantage. Guys, remember, though, that even though this monastery looks fortified, it's not a fortified church. That's different. Let's do a villager count. So Maxi with 59 and Max Power with 81. And it looks like Maxi's trying to get a guard tower up here. A little caught out of position. He has to send his crossbows in. And the crossbows are actually going to get decent value. They're going to... Oh, and the tower goes up. I can't believe that tower went up. And Max Power even tried denying that tower with a watchtower of his own. But watchtowers are not very powerful compared to guard towers. So I don't expect that this watchtower will stay up. Now, if these crossbowmen can find Max Power's other wood line down here in the south, it could actually be quite damaging. And let's see what if Maxi is able to find it. Yes, he does find it. So this is not good for Max Power. These villagers are going to evacuate. I don't know that any will escape. It seems like these crossbows are doing a lot of damage and that their projectiles are quite fiery. Archery range units and fire lancers have 20% more HP. I don't see any changes there regarding the attack value of the crossbowmen. And now there's arbalisters here, so this is a fight that Maxi does not want to take. He's losing his archers. It's actually a lot closer than I thought. The tower goes down, and Max Power is barely going to win this. And Maxi now knows that Max Power is taking wood down here instead. Apparently we also have a big battle right here. And where is Max Power taking gold? I guess he deleted this to get out there, but I think that was just to build this archery range. He's taking a small amount of gold here, and he's taking a small amount of gold here. Maxi also Imperial Age. This has been a pretty competitive game. Jasuki says the monastery looks nice. It's a nice touch by the developers for the Ethiopians. I agree. Ooh, Maxi outnumbered here as his opponent prepares for a late game push. I expect what we'll see is we'll see Max Power get the capped ram upgrade. That's what I would do if I were him. He knows his opponent is heavily invested in archers. Or he could go bombard cannons. But he just has to win the archer fights for now. And he is winning, but not extremely decisively. The Ethiopian archers, they fire faster, but the Vietnamese archers have more health. And that, I don't think, has changed. Maxi going to come out here and build another town center. He has this wood still, but I guess he decides he wants to spread out his economy more. He has a monastery for potential relic collection. Let's see how many relics his opponent has. Max Power with 4 relics. I think he's only got 2 more to collect. There's a relic here. No, he's just got 1 more to collect, and it's that one. Oh no, wait, there it is. There's the other one. That's right, because Maxi killed it. All right, so Max Power going to go into trebuchets. He's housed, and don't ask me how this trebuchet got so damaged. We didn't see it. I don't know, but should probably send somebody to repair it. And the trebuchets are moving forward to begin the siege. So where is, what's Maxi doing about all this? Well, let's take a look at his resources and see what he can do. He's just making archers. He's just making and massing archers, hoping to build up something strong enough to combat his opponent's archer numbers. The villager counts are actually not as dissimilar as I thought they would be. There's about a 15 villager difference between the two, which is significant. Maxi definitely on the back foot, but it's not out of the question for him to make a comeback. But I really think he needs to go rams. And he's making a siege workshop, so maybe he intends to make rams with what few resources he has remaining. His opponent, with some trebuchets, though, working on his gate. And these archers are going to try to come in. Maxi going to go cannon instead. He's already gotten chemistry. He's gotten chemistry to help out with the attack. And look at these machine gun arbalisters from the Ethiopians. So 6+4. And Maxi should have similar upgrades, and indeed they do. Just Maxi has a little bit more health. Could allow his arbalisters to survive an extra hit from enemy archers. Max Power really kind of taken his time here. He has not pushed in, which surprises me. So maybe Maxi can get a few good bombard cannon hits and make a comeback. Okay, he's got 1 bombard cannon coming forward, and it gets some nice splash damage here. And the arbalister's coming forward to micro down the cannon, and Maxi showing that he's got archers of his own. So he's actually, I think he's going to push this army back. The trebuchet's targeting the cannon, missing. Maxi targeting the trebuchets as a priority, which I think is a mistake. There we go. I think he got a couple of good hits in on the archers. He's slightly outnumbered, but the cannons could actually make a big difference. His opponent microing down his army. Ooh, Maxi losing the cannon. I think this is a close fight, but I think this fight determines that Max Power has won, and Maxi agrees. He says, GG, well played. Good luck next, even though they're both playing next. No elimination in Alchemy League. But Max Power with a solid game here, defending against Maxie's shenaniganery. Alright, so having seen the first set on Gugong, we'll take a quick look at the statistics before going into the next one. Maxie with more kills than deaths. Max Power with more buildings raised. He raised 17 buildings and lost only 2. And he had a larger army the whole time. Maxie was just not able to get the damage in because Max Power was able to freely take resources across the map that Maxie didn't know about. And so Maxie could not deny what the resources that mattered. Max Power with more food and wood and gold collected, but Maxie with more stone, which makes sense because he did a tower rush. In terms of technology, Max Power with a faster Castle Age time, Maxie with faster Feudal and Imperial Age times. Society, Max Power got 5 relics, but in this case, for this map, there were 6, so it did not trigger the relic countdown. And he had 1,800 relic gold, which is an important win, and he had a larger villager high. And you can see that he had the advantage for most of the game as well. So now let's go and check out their second game, which was played on the Thaw. The Thaw is a map that was created by Jasuki for Alchemy League Season... Well, I don't know that it was created for Alchemy League Season 6, but it was repurposed for Alchemy League Season 6. You start... It's a pretty open map. You have a couple of large wood lines here, 2 or 3 large wood lines for the players, and you've got, I believe, 8 shore fishes around the players. And, of course, immediately, here comes Maxie to lame. He's going to come in and he's going to cause some trouble. And Max Power knows this, so he's picking up as many resources as he can. He's taking his boar early. He knows that his opponent has come here to mess with him. So, again, similar fish count. Now, actually, if somebody douched on this map, and like if Maxie built a town center, right here, he could actually do a lot of damage, I think, because these other wood lines are quite close. So he could deny both of these wood lines. So his opponent would have to come out here. But yes, I don't exactly... Oh, but Maxie has decided that he wants the boar instead. He's using the scout to block the boar and slow the boar down. And Max Power wants to... Oh, no! It's the classic Maxie trick. So Max Power actually trying to lure the boar back. Maxie has to do it again, shoots the boar, and retreats, and then he's going to wall the villager in. Or he's going to steal the boar outright, I'm not sure. Oh, looks like the boar was de-aggroed by the house. Oh, he shoots. Now he's got to hit the boar with the scout. Or at least block it. Okay, he's going to block it to lure it in. And he's going to try to steal the boar for himself. Sometimes he walls the villager in and kills the boar. Sometimes he steals the boar for himself. It all depends. But this is a particular generation of the Thaw where the players are starting out close together. And I feel that stealing this amount of wood is not good for Max Power at all. You know, I think your food resources are somewhat limited on this map. And you really need to go for the shorefish. So now, Max Power is going to have to go a lot more for the shorefish than he otherwise probably would have wanted. See a house coming up. The resources are far away. This is a very, very aggressive map. Berry picking villager. This scout is not injured. Max Power's scout is injured. Let's see where Max Power's scout is actually. He's probably just exploring the map somewhere. A fog of war. Okay, he's pushing deer in. That makes more sense. He needs the food. He's also going to build his mill here. This is a good mill location, number 1, because it's in between 3 of the shore fishes, and number 2 is because it's kind of on the way to the deer. So he's going to push these deer in, but that will deny him scouting opportunity. So his opponent, Maxie, is going to be looking around for the opportunity to do some more damage. He's going to see that his opponent is pushing in deer and taking fish. Maxie might be looking for a weak villager. Does he see this weak villager? He could potentially go for this weak villager. but he might go for the scout instead. See that his opponent... he sees his opponent is pushing deer, and he wants to put a stop to it. So Max Power has no choice but to run home. The villagers are going to the town center to garrison and shoot arrows, but then they head back. So Maxi just made this a lot less efficient. Maxim is like Czech Beery. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that player. This is somewhat interesting that there's this gravel path. Oh, actually, it's part of the Outland, isn't it? Now, who knows how efficient Maxi's economy has been behind this? But I do know that Max Power is managing... He's actually managing to go up to the feudal age now. He's clicked up before Maxi. Now, Maxi has clicked up, and Maxi's going on to this gold here. Interestingly enough, Maxi is the Malians, and Max Power is the Mongols. And the Mongols are known for taking hunt quickly. So actually that boar steal was more significant than we may have thought. That also explains why these deer are like evaporating underneath these hunters. Because Mongols take hunted meat so fast. So you can't really wall on this map, but you can sort of small wall. And this appears to be what Maxi is doing. So he's making some small walls. Now, I'm wondering what is Max Power going to do with Feudal Age once he gets there? He's on gold, so this tells me that he's not going scouts. He's going to make archers. And I think that's actually a really smart play, because I think that people would assume that Mongols would go scouts on this map. I think that's what Maxi has assumed, because Maxi has taken the time and effort to small wall. Look at this. Look at this. Max Power diligently trying to push this deer in. And actually, let's see if Maxi sees that. He should be able to see that through the fog of war. He does not. So he could put a stop to that. And of course, Maxi's going to go archers because Maxi loves archers. But he does not see the deer lure, although Max Power may have given up. It's really hard to push deer from that far away. Okay, Maxi monitoring this. He's monitoring the villagers, taking the straggler tree, and he scouts the archery range. So he's going to know that archers are incoming. And Maxi has made a single militia. I'm not really sure why. I guess the militia is going to be decent against the spearmen and the weak scout. And here he is attacking this archer. He's trying to get some attacks on this spearman. Otherwise, this scout could just loop in. He really wants to kill his opponent's scout. He does manage to do so. But the militia goes down. But I think that's worth it. I think that's totally worth it, actually. The spearman is just like, nah, you archers can just take out this scout. It's fine. I'm not going to help. Okay, they're retasking now. Jasuki says, oh, he's an Argentinian top player, like 2.3K, that plays very anti-meta and loves to lame. I see. So he's kind of in the range for... are you sure he's only 2.3K? Because we have worthy opponents for him in Alchemy League, if that's the case. So Maxi hasn't taken many sheep, actually, because he had that extra boar, remember? And he also built a tower on his gold to give him some more time. The gold is forward. Or the gold that he chose to take is forward anyway. So Max Power is coming around to raid Maxi's woodline. But Maxi's made an archer, he's made a skirmisher, and he doesn't have a lot here, but maybe he has enough to keep his opponent distracted for a little while. His opponent's... Maxi's going to make another archer. And he garrisons the archer actually in the tower? No, the villagers were in the tower. I guess that other archer that he just made may have died. Meanwhile, Max Power deciding to build a mill here. He's going to take a couple of these small fish, and then there are more deer. He really wants the food. He does not want to screw around in Feudal Age for very long. But he's kind of starving. He's building 2 farms now, and he's running out of fish here. But he's done a decent job of damaging Maxi. Maxi has not even gone for his berries. And to be fair, nobody's gone for their berries, actually. Max Power hasn't gone for his berries. Maxie hasn't gone for his berries. Nobody going for the berries. Because there are better food sources available. Max Power getting housed here. Let's do a villager check. They both actually have 30 villagers, 30-ish villagers. In terms of military, though, Max Power has 10 units, whereas Maxie only has 5. And these are archers, and so numbers are pretty important for them. What is this? Oh, Maxie's gonna find a tower on his gold here. I don't think this is gonna go up. This Max Power, he knows about the tower actually, so he does know that Maxie has a tower here, and he's gonna build one anyway. This tower is uphill, so it will have an attack bonus, and it will take his opponent off of this gold if it goes up. Max Power just now getting double bit axe. Okay, he's going to build his tower out of the range of his opponent. I don't know, maybe. Maybe. Anybody is welcome to sign up for the league as long as we believe that they will help the league prosper by meeting the requirements of the handbook. If they're going to sign up and then not play, then we'll have to ban them. Okay, so the tower goes up, and Maxie has to abandon this gold. And where's he going to go? He's headed up this way. I think he's going to go to this gold. No, he's going to go to his main gold. Looks like it. Let's make sure that he has it explored, but I'm pretty sure he does. Yes, he knows about it. I don't know that he knows how much of it there is, but he knows that it's there, and he knows that it's more in the back of his base, so he's going to go here. But this is kind of dangerous. I mean, there's a bunch of enemy army right here. Now, he does have his own army. He's building this house just to prevent them from getting through. And he's going to send his own army over here to protect it. So I think he'll be okay. It's kind of a micro battle, though. It's more skirmisher than archer here. And really an extended feudal battle between these two players. Given the openness of the map and how difficult the resources are to defend. Market going up for Maxie. Could this mean that he's ready to click up to the next stage? His resources say otherwise. Let's take a look at Max Power, though. Max Power is on his way up to the next stage, so all of this exploration of the Wilderlands paid off. He got some extra food from hunting these deer. He is taking these shorefish. He's probably fished out almost entirely. Yeah, he's got 2 mills here. He's almost taken all of his shorefish in the little ponds around his town center. So he's taken more food than Maxie has. Maxie's built more farms. Although, Maxie's fished this out as well. Okay, here's the reason why. I think it's because Maxie has... Oh! Maxie gonna fight this? I don't know about that. Maxie's built more skirmishers, though. So he kills the skirmisher first, fights off one of the spearmen so that he can build his lumber camp in this location. So it looks like Maxie is actually sieging this tower. He sent some villagers to shank the base of it. One of them's retreating now. His remaining units are attacking the base of the tower. Alright, so what does Max Power do with Castle Age? I think he goes into Cav Archer. He either goes into Cav Archer or he gets the Crossbowman upgrade. I think Crossbowman would be smarter. It'd be a more intuitive power spike, and he already has the... Yep, he's getting Crossbowman. I like that. I think Mongolian Crossbowmen and Arbalisters are very underrated. They get all the upgrades except for the last armor. So, you know, and nobody gets the last armor. So... And they, of course, they get eco bonuses that help them. Maxie trying to take this fight before his opponent upgrades his units to crossbow, which is smart. The crossbow upgrade does come in, although I don't know how many of them will survive much longer. But Maxie's strangely microing his skirmishers within their minimum range, so the crossbows can continue to fire, but the skirmishers can't. And that may have cost him the engagement. At some point, I think Maxie's going to want to transition into Malian infantry. Malian infantry, of course, get the bonus pierce armor. He just completed another archery range. Malians don't want to go archers long term because they don't get bracer. So Maxie now, he's lost his army here. He knows his opponent is marching this way. And you got, yeah, okay, he's pulling the villager off of gold. He knows that his opponent's going to come mess with this. And he probably could guess that his opponent's going to come and mess with this as well. But he does have units on the way to help. So Maxie's on almost castle age, and he's made more skirmishers than his opponent. So Maxie should be trying to keep these skirmishers out of their minimum range. And he pulls back. He's going to fight the spearmen while his army is dealing with these crossbows. There we go. Alright, spearman is away. Maxie not satisfied with the safeness of this wood line, so he's just going to build a town center here. This is a good town center location. It secures the wood. It secures the gold. Alright, so Max Power is making a ram. I like this. I think rams are highly underrated. I'd like to see more rams in Age of Empires. Siege rams are very much a game-ending unit. But this isn't a siege ram. This is just a humble battering ram. And this is here just to chip away at buildings. Now, Maxie has made a knight. I don't know if this signifies a transition into knights in general. He's getting the crossbowman upgrade. I think that hurts. I don't know that he wants crossbowmen as Malians. I think he wants to transition into knights now. I mean, what are the Mongols going to do? Make pikemen? I don't want to make pikemen. Nobody wants to make pikemen. Least of all, not the Mongols. Knights would make a lot of sense here, and they would require no upgrades except for the armor, I suppose. But he's going to go into crossbow. He's going to double down. And max power over here. Maxie no longer defending that, so he doesn't care as much. Although these crossbows could still get villager pickoffs. They have the range to do so. They could sit right here, and they could just chisel away at villagers taking gold, which would be pretty annoying. And Maxie would have to go back there and deal with that. He's focus firing the ram. Not sure how I feel about that. His max power is going after this gold. Both players playing this aggressively, given the openness of the map. So, Max Power has built a university. That could mean one of two things. Ballistics or Imperial Age. Okay, it's going to be Ballistics. He's not close in terms of resources to go up to the next stage. But I think a fast imp play could potentially be rewarding here. He's going to get Ballistics. This will help his crossbows track the movement of Maxie's units. Now, Maxie needs to go on the offensive. His opponent's taking wood up here and wood over here, and it's not defended, because Maxie doesn't know about it. Yeah, Maxie has no clue that his opponent is taking resources up here. And so Maxie could totally go up that way and deny those resources, but instead, he's going to focus on microing against these siege weapons. Oh, get the villager, get the villager. Alright, he does manage to get the villager. He manages to get the knight. And he's going to micro down a ram. He's going to counter rams with archers, which is a very strange thing to do. Sending 2 skirmishers to deal with this. Not able to get really a value fight here. He's got to be very careful. This mangonel could flatten everything. Mangonel doesn't take the shot. Doesn't really have much of a chance to take the shot. Max power. Okay, he's going to build more farms. So max power, that's a lot of farms for an archer's build. Oh, he's getting husbandry. So max power planning a switch into some kind of mounted unit. It could be cavalry archer or it could be knights. He has made a few knights. Not step lancers, but knights. Maxie needs to be careful. Like, why? Why are you fighting over this? Who cares? Come over here and do some damage. Find your opponent's weak point. This is all totally undefended. The mangonels can't really follow it. But to be fair, he's doing a decent job of microing down mangonels for whatever that's worth. And in so doing, he's keeping his archery ranges alive. And he's keeping these 2 villagers working on gold. So I guess there's something to be said for that. Okay, so here we go. So Maxi moving forward. He sees some villagers and he's ready to kill. So he forces max power off of this wood line, which is a good win for Maxi. He wants revenge after the first game. Gets like 4 villagers right there. Yeah, he is very good at microing. This mangonel is in pursuit, although he may not know it yet. Oh, knows it now. He's like, you think mangonels counter crossbows? I'll show you. And max power actually getting decent value with that mangonel. I got probably 4 kills with it. It's going to clean up the remaining army with his own. I think this army would have been better off looping down here. I think it would have been better off looping around here. Like, why fight this? Why do that? You know that your opponent has a big eco. Just go around and find more villagers to kill. But that's just an experience thing that Maxi will learn in time. Be like, okay, I could micro this mangonel, but why would I? I can do so much more damage with these units attacking somewhere else. Alright, this town center, okay, this is a stone town center. I didn't see the stone at first, but now I do. So, this town center, if it weren't for that stone, would not be on any valuable resource whatsoever. So we got random knights kicking around, I think maybe from both players. Let's talk about late game compositions here. What do the Malians want to do, and what do the Mongols want to do? Well, I think that the Malians are favored late game in general, but I will say that this map is very open and lends itself to raiding quite nicely. So I think that if the Mongolian player can get ahead, and they can build stables all over, Oladushek style, build stables like on the side of the map and in the back of the map and stuff, and they can have Hussar everywhere. They can raid the Malians to death, but the Malians do have better army late game. They've got the way better siege. They've got infantry with additional pierce armor. They're hard. They've got the champ scarls. They're just hard to kill. Again, why fight this? Okay, he knows that there are villagers up here and he's going to go pick on them. A good choice. So Max Power has to send another knight out to deal with them. He's going to maybe get the last villager. Okay, so Maxi has found this up here. This is an important win for Maxi. Let's take a look at the villager count. So Maxi with 59 villagers now, and Max Power with 49 villagers. So Maxi's winning this game. What's the difference now? Why the score lead for Max Power? If Maxi has more economy, why is Max Power so far ahead? Is it because he's killed so many of Maxi's archers? So Max Power behind. He's got to do something different. Now he's destroying, or he's forcing Maxi to not build farms there. I guess that's a little bit of a win, and he needs it. Maxi's been a jerk to him up here. He's killed his villagers here, he killed his villagers here, and then Max Power sent more. And Max Power maybe going into knights. Okay, Max Power is going to do something very crazy. He's going to go imp. Look at this. He's got the resources, he now clicks. And this is exactly what he needs. He knows he's behind. He needs a technology advantage to get himself back in this game. So that is the gamble. And it may or may not work. It depends on what Maxi decides to do. I will say that Max Power is the more experienced player. So he is more likely to recognize the different options that's available to him. But Maxi has a lot of potential. So Max Power is going to see what his choices are. He knows he's lost a bunch of villagers. He probably knows himself to be behind. And he's going up to Imperial Age and he's making more archers. So we're going to get to see the Mongolian Arbalister. Mongolians don't get bombard cannons. In fact, they hate bombard cannons. Man could I get bonus damage against bombard cannons. And what's Maxi doing with this? Like he basically has a 5 town center boom going on right here, which I feel is inappropriate for a map this open. I mean, surely he's got to be wondering why his opponent is taking the foot off the gas, or maybe Maxi's just like, you know what? I've killed a bunch of villagers. I've met the challenge of my opponent's military, and I'm just gonna boom now. But their villager counts are quite similar, so I don't know if we missed it and Max Power killed a bunch of villagers and we just didn't see it. Maxi adding a 6th, actually it's gonna be his 5th town center again. New town center here for Maxi. Doesn't really have a good wood town center though. I think he should add something up here or something like that. Alright, so Max Power is only a few seconds away from Imperial Age. Maxi has just clicked himself. And Maxi needs to garrison. He does. Force these archers back. And now Max Power is in Imperial Age. He's getting Arbalister, he's getting Bracer. And he's going to take advantage of the lead. He's got about 2 minutes. He has 2 minutes to do a lot of damage in order to win the game. So Maxi is building a siege workshop. Now guys, remember that Malians do not get Bracer. So that is a big disadvantage for Maxi. And almost no stone is true. Without stone, it's hard to defend. So let's take a look at what Maxi is up to in terms of technology. So Maxi is going to attempt a technology switch. He's getting infantry armor now. He's going to need onagers. He knows that his opponent is heavily invested in archers. And he knows that his opponent does not get bombard cannons. So onagers actually make a lot of sense here. Sending villagers to chase down these mangonels, but he changes his mind. So maybe Maxi's been a little bit too delayed. I don't know about the tech switch. I don't think he has time for it. I don't think he's got the farming eco safe and established yet. He wants to have these Malian town centers. And the Malians do get a unique tech for their town centers, but nobody could afford a castle right now. So that's not really in the cards. But look, I mean, he's got 8 farms, 8 food collectors, so he doesn't have the resources to tech switch. But he needs to tech switch because he knows that his archers can't keep pace. So it's tricky. It could be a case where Onager could get him back in the game. Onager counters everything his opponent's making. That Mangonel not getting any value. So what does Maxi do? He's in Imperial Age. He's not researching anything. He's not on gold. Aha, a panic castle. So this castle is in the back. The point of the castle is probably to secure this gold and then maybe provide a unique technology. These arbalisters are erasing the construction villagers. Maxi down to 44 villagers now when Max Power decides to leave. Alright, so Maxi's going to go into Skirmisher. Malian Skirmisher feels bad, man. They are also missing the Bracer. He could have gone Cavalry, actually. You know, but he's maybe afraid of his opponent making pikemen. Cavalry would have the mobility to kill arbalisters and kill siege weapons. And slowly Maxi's losing map control. He's fighting his opponent over here. I think he built too many town centers. Yeah, I agree. I think he overinvested into town centers, trying to boom up. Maybe a little bit overconfident with the damage that he had done to his opponent. And there was a time when Maxi was ahead. But Max Power smartly going Imperial Age. Getting the Arbalister power spike. And he is going to invest in the capped rams. And Maxi not really sure what to do in that situation. Most of Maxi's games end very quickly. There's usually a lot of laming and towers involved. But Maxi kind of a little bit out of his element here. You know, attempting the tech switch, getting upgrades for infantry that he's not going to make. Going into skirmishers of all things, and just not really having a good answer here. And his opponent's going to punish that inexperience. Max Power taking down this market. These Arbalisters looping around for some damage. And yeah, Maxie's somewhat surrounded. He can't take wood here anymore. Surely Max Power will send 3 Arbalisters to just sit right back here. He's going to send 1. Guess he figures that's all he needs. This one does like... yeah, just does 8 damage per shot. So Maxie's going to take wood here instead. He's going to make some Gabetos and some Scorpions. But, oh, and he's got, you know, he's got a decent number of Gabetos here. They will be able to snipe rams, but the problem with the Gabetos is they die to Arbalister. He's got Skirmisher to deal with some Arbalisters, but Arbalisters can still shoot through Skirmishers if you have enough of them. They trade okay. They don't trade cost effectively, but they still trade. And when you're outnumbered, it's not what you need. Max Power charging in with some light cav just to keep these Gabetos busy. The Rams are continuing to work on Maxie's what little remains of Maxie's village. And Maxie calling the GG. This was a good game for sure. If he comes back, he's the best player ever. Yeah, his opponent is too good to let that happen. Too good to let that happen. Let's take a look at the achievements. So, Max Power with 147 kills, 125 units lost, raising 19 buildings, losing only 1. Again, larger army of 38. Max Power collected more food, wood, and gold, but Maxie collected more stone, of course, and I think a lot of this is market activity. Max Power with better age advancement times, and slightly larger villager high. Total castles of 1 for Maxie. The timeline here shows that Maxie did have a peak, you know, mid-castle age. When look at how big this is. Look at how big this is. And then he lost a bunch of it for some reason, and it was on the decline ever since. Hey, Cookie Pirate, welcome. All right, so now we're going to take a look at Metal Mania versus Alexander. So I'm going to show. We're done with these. So they are playing on Shimmerpool and Confluence, respectively. And the civilizations that we could see are Italians, Khmer, Georgians, Portuguese, Lithuanians, and Persians. Alright, so let's see. This is the African version of Shimmerpool that we get. Metal Mania is playing as the gray Lithuanians, and Alexander is playing as the yellow Georgians. Now, I believe this map was originally developed before either of these civilizations existed. So the African version, we got a lot of acacia trees in the center. What else do you need to know about the map? Well, this is not crossable, this green and brownish water. So you can fish in here. The amount of fish is a little bit random. There are corners with some extra stone. And some relics. There are 5 relics on the map. 4 of them are in the corners, and then 1 of them is just kind of generally in the center on some shallows. So you have to use a transport ship to access this relic. So if you go all in land, and your opponent goes all in water, you will not win a relic victory, even if you secure the 4 relics in the corners. Now, I don't know much about the Georgians. Let's take a look at let's take a look at their civilization, actually. Oops, hold on. So Alexander playing as the Georgians. Let's see what they got. So they get that free mule cart to start out, and people say that that really helps out your early game economy. Their units and buildings get 15% less damage when located on a higher elevation. So there's sort of a hill bonus similar to the Tatars there. Their mounted units regenerate some health in the different ages. The fortified churches provide villagers in an 8-tile radius with an additional work rate. So maybe Alexander is looking at this as, I'm going to build fortified churches everywhere, and that's going to improve my economy. Or maybe he's going to build them in just the choke points that matter. We see an insta-dock here from Alexander. The Lithuanians are probably going to do their insta-dock too. No, they are not insta-docking. So, different plan for Metal Mania. So Alexander going on water earlier. He's going to invest more heavily in water. Oh yeah, this map has been around for a while. It had a different name. It was originally called Karga, and it was developed for the World Desert Championship. And it was not used because at the time we did not have the technology to place players in an elliptical pattern around an elliptical oasis, and so they were given nomad starts in the corners. And the judges despised the idea of walking all the way into the center of the map to place your town center, you know, knowing that this is where the stone is and you may want to go back here for relics or stone. But yeah, the original version of the map had a start in the corner. The idea is that you would come over this ridge and you would see a shimmering oasis in the center of the map. And it was like a godsend. But in those days, it was just a desert biome. And it was based on the El Karga oasis in Egypt. Jasuni says Georgians, they are cavalry and defensive civilization. Very strong cavalry, especially the Manaspas. Strong late game boom. Pretty good options generally too. And Cookie Pirate says this may be a bit of a hot take, but I think that Georgians are actually pretty good. I do like Lithuanians better though. Not just as a whole, but I take Lithuanians over Georgians. Okay, so Metal Mania is eventually going to dock, although Alexander has 2 fishing ships worth of an advantage over him. So Alexander's definitely got the benefit here, but Metal Mania, I guess, taking his hunt quickly, he pushed in some zebras, he took both of his rhinoceroses, and the rhinoceroses, of course, have more food, and he's actually going to click up first. And I think this could be important for Metal Mania. You know, he doesn't waste time with this early dock. He puts more villagers on food generally, now that we're talking about what the players are doing. And he's going to get up to Feudal Age first, and he's going to be able to make fire ships first. And I think that this is significant. So, is Alexander... Okay, Alexander is clicked up as well. These guys are both skilled players. We're talking about 15 to 1600 here. So, they know how to... Oh, what's this? Alexander trying to pick off a villager in the wood line, maybe? Or maybe he just wandered in here and Metal Mania quick-walled him. But whatever the reason is, Alexander has lost his scout. So yeah, his scout came over here, got killed. You have to be careful on this map because all of your wood lines are forward. And if you try to wall, well, you're going to run into some lions or predators or whatever's over here. So you can kind of wall this, but you can't really wall over here. So Feudal Age military can penetrate the edges of this oasis quite easily. And so now Metal Mania wants to kill one of Alexander's villagers. Alexander's going to attempt to bring this villager home. I don't think this lady's going to make it, though. He tries to do the quick wall, but nope, doesn't make it. And these villagers had loom, too. Metal Mania knew that he could kill a villager with loom because he was in the Feudal Age first. And now he's on the prowl. He's looking for some damage. Looking very strong this game. It's contingent on the Lithuanians getting the relics to neutralize the benefit Georgians get with numbers. I agree. Alright, so Fire Ship comes out. Alexander taking the last of his fish. He knows he's behind. He wants to keep his fishing ships safe. Unfortunately for Alexander, there is not really anywhere to go. The pond is pretty small in the center. So he's got to pull his fish back. He manages to pull these 2 back. This last fishing ship is going to be sunk. But it could mean a 15 food difference here, or 14 food difference for Alexander. Does he manage to drop it off? No, not yet. He's satisfied that his fire ship is able to chase off Metal Mania. Metal Mania has a villager here to repair, and so Alexander would have to send another villager. And Alexander might be making another fire... Actually, he is. He's making another fire galley. He's pulled his own fire galley back, and he's also making a barracks. Meanwhile, Metal Mania is making scouts. So he knows that the scouts can get in here. This is pretty hard to wall. The map looks closed, but it's really not a closed map. It's got a lot of forest patches. It's difficult to wall these forest patches. And most importantly is it has predators here. You'd have to invest quite a bit into walling this off. You could do it, but it would be challenging. So I don't think that Metal Mania has shown these scouts yet. Is there a little bit of land just to tease the... no. So this is shallows. This area actually right here is muddy shallow. So you could bring a transport ship in here and unload a monk, and he'll wade through the shallow part, pick up the relic, hop back in the transport back to the coast, ungarrison, and then go to the monastery and drop off the relic. But he can't walk to this relic. Alright, so Metal Mania has found Alexander's gold. I think he catches Alexander off guard. I don't think Alexander was expecting these scouts. But Alexander does react quickly and chase the scouts away. Oh, he's actually giving up pretty quickly on this gold. But okay, he's got a spearman. So the spearman is going to chase the scouts away. So then now he can go. Now everybody can get back to work. There isn't really a convenient place to build a mill on this map, so players just kind of build it wherever. You could potentially mill some berries and zebras that are kind of neutral resources out here. But apart from your deer, there isn't really a good place to build a mill, because you don't get berries. Alexander chasing this. The scouts are running away. Metal Mania with a big score lead. He's cleaned up Alexander's fishing ships, and he's now on the dock, and he's adding an archery range. Is it masked? Yes. So this archery range will allow him to add skirmishers to deal with the spearmen. Metal Mania paying another visit, but there's a spearman standing guard this time. Let's see, we see Alexander's resources. Let's see how close Metal Mania is to clicking up to the next stage. He's actually not as close as Alexander is. Maybe Alexander is more so planning on going up to the next stage faster before Metal Mania. He's invested a lot. Metal Mania has invested a lot in Feudal Age. He's got 6 scouts, and he's got other Feudal Age buildings, and he's starting to make archers. So Metal Mania is actually going scouts and archers. Which is a big, big investment. Alexander needs to get up to the Castle Age quickly if he wants to survive. Because Alexander, he's basically just made defensive spearmen, and then maybe Alexander makes... Yeah, maybe he makes a couple scouts. I think we saw a scout or 2 from Alexander kicking around. But he doesn't have the same kind of food income that Metal Mania has. He is on farms. He's had to switch to farms since he was taken off of the fish. Cookie Pirate says, my fingers are all scuffed up from cutting sheet metal this afternoon to build my models. I'm not exactly sure what that means. So 7 scouts here from Metal Mania. Just kind of sitting there. They should be able to kill this one spearman. If Metal Mania... Oh, but there's 2. He could still probably take them out. If he got the drop on them. Alright, let's see. He gives up. Not going to push in. Wait. Here he comes. Alexander adding an archery range, and he's got 1 scout. Maybe he draws this one spearman out. Well, he's still on the prowl. He's looking for free villagers, but Alexander isn't going to give it to him. Alexander has been battered enough. He's made enough spearmen. He's got enough spearmen to go around. Or maybe he's waiting for the archers to arrive. I bought roller coaster models and I had to cut thin sheet metal. Oh, they're cutouts. I see. So Metalmania running away from the spearmen. He's going to unite his army now. He's going to get ready to push. And Alexander is on his way up to the castle age before Metalmania. And Alexander has scouts of his own. So Metalmania arriving with the archers, and this is forcing Alexander to pull off of this wood line. So Alexander is going to hit Castle Age first, if anybody hits at all. But he has no map control. He's got this gold back here, and he's got his farmers. And there are, in the African version, there are baobab forests, a couple of baobab forests scattered on each side. But in general, Metalmania with the really big feudal age investment, and Alexander's going to take advantage of this mule cart. And he's going to chop some wood here. But then he's going to have to go back. I think he actually could set up camp over here. Now, Alexander in Metalmania's base. I don't know that he's finding much luck. Metalmania himself has a large number of spearmen. So I don't know that Alexander gets much value from that. At least we didn't really see it. Probably did not mean to take that fight. Alright, well, he does win, but at great cost. So probably did not really so much intend for these scouts to fight the spearmen, but yeah, now that they're done, might as well be annoying. Metalmania has to micro back and fight the scout. Alexander micros away. So Alexander is castle age now, and that means knights. And he needs them desperately. He's been taken off of his gold. He's been trying to set up shop over here on the reeds. But his opponent has a huge feudal army in his base. So first knight is out. Knights are very effective against scouts. They have more attack, more health, more melee armor. Same pierce armor, though. And this knight is on his way over to the archers. I wonder if these scouts are going to fight this knight. That would be pretty funny. The scouts will deal not one, but they'll deal minimal damage to this knight. They'll deal 2 damage per whack. Metalmania is more than halfway up to the castle age, though. I believe that Alexander has been hit very hard by Metalmania in the feudal age. Metalmania with a much bigger commitment. Alexander going castle age faster. He is going to build a town center here. This is a nice town center. It helps him secure gold, which is what he desperately needs. But yeah, I don't know. I think Metalmania has done the damage, but maybe Alexander can get a little bit of a boom going. He can get a good position with some more town centers, and he can rebuild. Let's check villager counts. So Metalmania has 43 and Alexander has 33, and Metalmania has just hit the castle age. Yeah, so same age, but Metalmania with 10 more villagers. That's a little bit ugly. 3 of them are fishing ships, so the remaining 7 are just villagers in general. Maybe from idle time that Alexander's had, or maybe from Metalmania getting some kills. Not really sure. Alexander has knights here to defend. The villagers and the knights are fighting back, but Metalmania does manage to get another villager pick-off, which is annoying for Alexander. Alexander to deal with. So these knights, well, they need to keep pace. What is this? Metalmania sending the spearmen forward. He's satisfied now that he's in castle age. He can build additional town centers at home if he needs to, and that's what he's doing. So he doesn't need the spearmen to defend his town anymore. So he might as well use them in an offensive. So we got some Lithuanian spears working on this barracks here. And I'm not exactly sure what Alexander's going to do. Alexander can and should try to drop a town center on a gold somewhere. Now, it can be hard. Here Metalmania can kind of drop a town center on a gold, although it's in the back. Alexander can't really drop a town center on his gold. He's going to drop a fortified church instead. And that's actually a decent substitute, because his villagers can at least garrison in a fortified church. Help to keep them safe. Metalmania going to find this, though. Alexander should quick wall this villager in. He should build like a couple palisades to keep this villager from being attacked. But I think maybe Alexander could get this straggler out of the way and then build the town center right here on these golds. These golds have extra gold, by the way, apparently. 2,000. Yeah, this is 1052 and this is 605 because Alexander's been taking from them. Church fires some arrows. And now he can hop out and take this gold. Can send this mule cart back over here. And Alexander can secure his wood. He can secure his gold. He can secure kind of his... well, okay. His farms are not really that secure right now. But, you know, he's gotten the basics out of the way. And he could always add more fortified churches. Because I believe that they're just a wood cost. So he could add a couple more fortified churches. And he has the potential to stabilize his economy. Just got to build more churches. In some generations, is the fish higher? I think it could be a good strategy to go a couple of fishing ships, but then let other player win water and feudal and invest everything on land. I think that's what Metal Mania is doing. I can tell you that in some generations there is no fish at all, because in some generations this is frozen over, and sometimes they're just shore fish because there's like holes in the ice, and sometimes it's just frozen solid and there's no fish. It's just like Ghost Lake, and those generations I imagine would be very aggressive. So Alexander has built some cavalry here. His stable's still alive and working. He's got 3 on food. Metal Mania has been pretty hard on him. Very aggressive ever since Feudal Age. Not giving any advantage to the Georgians whatsoever. Does not want the Georgians to do anything. Let's talk about relics. What is Metal Mania doing? Alright, so Metal Mania is going for the relics. They're in pretty predictable locations as Lithuanians. And he has not gotten this one yet. He's going to get this one if he remembers to click over there. And if he makes a transport ship, he can have this one too. So Alexander can't fight these pikemen, but the pikemen can't fight underneath the town center. So he's not in terrible peril, but it doesn't look good. He needs to make some monks, actually, from this fortified church. That would really help him. He could target his opponent's knights, but instead he wants to mirror the knights, which I think Alexander is like overlooking a pretty important unit here. Not only could monks convert his opponent's knights, but they could heal his own knights. At least there aren't huntable bears to scare off the ice fishermen. No, there are some bears on this, and for certain generations of the map, but not on the ice. You know, they just replace the predator out here. So instead of lions, it's bears. Metal Mania raiding Alexander's fortified church. I think Alexander's looking pretty rough here, and yeah, he thinks so too because he calls the GG. Metal Mania just never leaving Alexander alone. He was all over him in Feudal Age. I think the game was decided based on what Metal Mania did in Feudal Age with the scouts and archers. At that point, Alexander was, you know, he was under pressure, but he was okay until the archers showed up. And that completely took him off of wood and really slowed his economy down. So let's take a look at the statistics. So, Metal Mania with 42 kills, 32 units lost, 4 buildings razed, lost none, converted a single unit. Alexander did. I didn't see it. Largest army? Metal Mania 3x. Technology. Metal Mania first to Feudal Age, Alexander first to Castle Age. And Metal Mania with more of the map explored and more research count overall. Metal Mania with 71 villagers to Alexander's 40. And we can see that Metal Mania really started this in Feudal Age. I mean, look at how huge this is compared to Alexander's Feudal Age. And Alexander kind of started to build up here and respond, but Metal Mania still had like twice his numbers in Feudal Age. And then he really just punished him from there. So now we're going to look at Confluence, which is the final game in today's cast. This map was made by Jasuni, not Jasuki, Jasuni. Jasuni's a different person. Okay, so what about this map? Well, it's kind of a blend between Black Forest and Highland. You have these strategic crossings over the river. You got the shallows here. You've got thick forest patches. You can really mess with your opponents by sending them some stuff back here. The river's important. There are resources in the river that you might be interested in. But you start really close to your opponent, actually. So sometimes we see players go water. Sometimes we see players go land. Alexander is playing as the yellow Italians, and Metalmania is playing as the gray Persians. The land is elevated over the water to give ships a damage penalty when fighting land units, or to give land units an advantage. What else about the map? Well, I think Jasuni wanted it to be kind of like a very densely forested area. Sometimes the resources spawn a little bit further away, but they are all there. What about Persians versus Italians, though? I really like Italians here. Persians, we've seen Persians and Italians before. Persians have the eco advantage. Italians have the military advantage. So Italians' military options are better. They get the Genoese crossbowman, which deals bonus damage against cavalry, which Persians are all about. So Italians are really the more competent civ militarily, but Persians are easy to play. They get extra food and wood. Their town centers and docks work faster and have more health. So you really can get ahead early as Persians. So the question will be, can Alexander survive long enough to win the game? What do I think about Tower Rush on this map? I like Tower Rush. I think Tower Rush makes a lot of sense here. Because if you can deny a lot of building space for your opponent starts out close to you. They have large wood lines. You can generally predict where those wood lines are. You can generally deny at least one or two resources with a Tower Rush. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense for a Tower Rush. Both players docking around the same time, though. Yeah, in fact, those docks went up exactly the same time. They're probably doing the same build for all I know. But Italians do get an important advantage in this contest, and that is that their feudal age is a little bit cheaper. So their feudal age, I think, is 10% cheaper. So it's only 460 food. And that means that they can get up to the feudal age a little bit faster than their opponents. And that means, hey, a little bit faster, maybe some fire ships kicking around. Maybe they can get those fire ships out just in time to do extra damage. Aw, look at this. They're sharing. They're sharing the salmon. How kind. Now, sometimes we see players try to wall off all these little crossings. I think there are a lot of them, but potentially you could do that. All of the neutral relics are on... Oh, except for this one. And apparently this one. Alright, never mind. Maybe Jasuni can clarify if he's in chat where the neutral relics are. I thought they were all on this neutral land, but it looks like each player also gets one. So maybe each player gets a neutral relic, and then the remaining neutral relics are on this neutral land here. Not sure how it works. I just know that Alchemy League is standard victory condition, so if somebody gets all those relics, they start a countdown. Oh, the Persian douche on this map. That's kind of an interesting idea. I don't know. Jasuni says Genbos are dominant in this matchup. Persian's best option in this matchup on this map may actually be the Persian douche. I don't know. I don't know about the Persian douche. I guess maybe if you can smuggle all those villagers, like if Metal Maniac were to delete his town center, and then he came around this way and he wandered around the back, or maybe, actually no, this way would be better, and he dropped his town center like right here. If you can drop your town center on your opponent's town center in range of that, but also in range of their wood line, it could be pretty effective. But, you know, if you lost your opponent to the Persian douche, what would you do? Or your town center? You would just come down here and you'd build a town center that was even closer to a wood line. But then again, it also would kind of restrict your space available. I guess if you lost this town center to a Persian douche and you had to build back down here, let's say, then you don't have any room to build military buildings. So maybe it could be quite devastating. But I think Persian's best weapon is the fact that they start with free stuff. And they're just going to be ahead in pretty much everything. Both players up to the feudal age around the same time. Alexander taking another unfortunate fight with Metal Mania's scout. Alexander has built a dock on Metal Mania's side of the map. Oh no, he's built a dock here on his own side of the map. But then losing the villager. I don't know where this villager was going, if it was intended to be a sneak villager or what. But Metal Mania picking off another villager of Alexander's again. Alexander not protecting his villagers very well these two games. Metal Mania, this is the second game in a row where Metal Mania has gotten a free villager with his scout. But they are both going to go like a fire ship mirror. Persians will have an advantage here because their docks work faster. Italians have dock bonuses too, but they don't come into effect yet. I would like to see... Where's Alexander going? I would like to see Alexander repair these ships and then send them back into battle. But he's just going to send them into battle now, hoping that Metal Mania will not react in time. But Metal Mania is going to draw that fire ship back. Alexander retasks the fires. And that was actually decent micro. Unfortunately for Alexander, like, his docks are on the opposite side of the bank here. So, you know, he pops out a 1 and Metal Mania just gangs up on him. And pretty much almost sinks this fire ship before it can ever do any damage. So Alexander having to repair that. He could garrison the... He could start with the ships garrisoned in the dock and eject them all at the same time. That would make sense. So Jasuke saying maybe even a late douche. Maybe. Is it just me or is the neutral land not elevated? It's just you. The neutral land is elevated. Yeah, Jasuni may grumble about that, but I really think it's important to elevate the land over the water. I think it's just a really big deal to create that bonus damage for units versus ships. Okay, so Alexander sent a repairman here to fix the fire galleys. But if he's not careful, Metal Mania is going to destroy this dock, which will hurt. And fire galley ejecting. And Alexander with a fire galley kill. And I think we're just going to... He just needs to fight this. Just fight this. Micro it better than your opponent. Pull this back and repair it. But I don't think he notices. Metal Mania microing as well. Trying to get that fire galley out of the way. Metal Mania just with better ship control here. Able to keep his docks working more consistently. Alexander loses his fires. You were looking at the wrong portion. It should all be elevated properly. Jasuni, how did you create these crossings? Did you use connections to make these? Or is this done with some kind of terrain effect? Are these done with create connect all lands or with terrains? Because with terrains, I guess there is theoretically a chance that people will not be joined or that they'll be joined unfairly. But I guess if you have enough of them, that's a very remote chance. So Metal Mania has destroyed this dock. He's working on the other dock. Alexander wants to repair it, but the villager cannot get close enough to repair. He has something garrisoned in this dock. I think it's time for Alexander to move on. I think he should delete this house, and he should send the villagers across, and he should rebuild his lumber camp over here, just so he has a good presence in this location. It would be preferable to do so while his opponent is not looking. You know, while his opponent can't see him go over here, because if he does, then his opponent might send land military this way. But this will help Alexander make sure that he's got presence on 2 of the 3 lands, even without navy. Suni says ships are a lot more powerful than land units, though a limited water area can sometimes be more impactful. Cookie Pirate says, I thought it would be a brilliant idea to elevate the player lands, but leave the neutral land flat to make it harder to control. Interesting. Jasuni says, terrain generation. Basically, the deep water was generated like it was forest terrain. So the crossings are really generated the same way the paths through the forests were generated. Ah, okay. That's a good trick. Terrain generation also gives you a little bit more control over what it looks like and how it goes together. Maybe not necessarily much, but connections in Age of Empires are quite squirrely. So Metal Mania walling this off. He does not want any Feudal Age military getting in over here. So I suspect that this is because Metal Mania is planning on going up to the next age soon. You know, I feel like Metal Mania really does have enough of a naval presence, though, to where, like, why would he be afraid of Feudal Age military? I guess it's possible that his opponent could sneak across. Let's see what Alexander's resources are like. Alexander's building a market. He figures, I'll buy a little bit of food. This will give me another building that I need to click up to the Castle Age. I think Alexander still has to build a blacksmith, though. Yeah, he's still missing his other Castle Age buildings. So Alexander needs to build a blacksmith. He might actually try clicking now. Or using the market and then clicking now. But he needs a blacksmith. And then he needs to go up to the next age. Alright, yeah, he's building his blacksmith now. And he should go on stone. He should go on stone and he should go genbows, I think. Genbows would be pretty effective against everything that the Persians want to make. Exactly. Jasuni saying... Oh, well, actually, Jasuni first saying doesn't matter how powerful ships are if they can't get into the fight. It's true. That's one of the strategies to limit the effectiveness of water, as well as to limit it to a small area, so the ships can't be everywhere, so that land units have a safe place to go from the ships. But the other thing, too, is that with this, you know, the ships can kind of zone off an area if they patrol it, or there maybe are just a few important crossings. So it still is important. Jasuni says, connection generation section is nice if it's exactly what you need. Otherwise, it's not very useful. Exactly. Connections were basically designed... They were added to the game so that you could have crossings over river maps. I'm convinced of that. I don't think there was any other reason that they did connections except to make it so that you had a way to get across Highland without making the whole river shallows. Being able to cross everywhere. They wanted strategic crossing locations, so that's why connections were added. No other reasons. Jasuki saying, I'm a noob on RMS, but still haven't found a case where I can make connections do what I want them to do. It just means that you've been too ambitious. You have to have a really simple map for connections to be effective. There are two types of connections. There are connections that join player lands, and then there are connections that join all lands. And that's it. So, if you have a map with a lot of neutral lands, you cannot use connections that join all lands. Because if you've got anything more than like 4 or 5 lands total, then your map will explode if you try to connect all lands. Because it's sort of a exponential growth. You know, every new land that you add has to connect to all of the other existing lands, and it's got to compute that path. Black Forest uses connections to assure that there are passages between the players, but Highland is the classic example of connections being used to create strategic crossings along the river or over the river. Highland is actually its base terrain is water, and then the player lands are the land terrain, and the land terrain is allowed to grow, and it's separated by a certain distance. And then they ran into the problem of, well, now that we've done that, there's no way to get across, so they added connections as like an afterthought after terrain generation and just add those strategic crossings. Alexander's still fighting for water up here. Metal Mania has to travel a little bit further, and Alexander's got his repair villager. But I think Metal Mania is collecting his forces. Yeah, and he's going to come over here and crush Alexander's attempt to dock over here. Alexander could maybe build a castle right here, a forward castle. And that would allow him to build docks later, and it would give him an important map presence in the center. But Alexander's opted for a 3-town center boom instead, which I think is a mistake. And here's why. I think that Alexander's behind, right? He's got fewer villagers than his opponent. They were up a similar time to the Castle Age. I don't think Alexander's ever going to catch up. And he doesn't really have the map space here to build a lot of production buildings that, production buildings that would be commensurate with his, even if he could boom successfully, right? Even if he could get all those villagers and get a ton of income from resources and all that, where's he going to build all of his stables, right? Like, imagine this is all filled up with farms and houses. How's he gonna get in on his opponent? I don't think he has the space to justify a 3-town center boom. To say nothing of being behind and never being able to catch up in booming. So that's why I recommend 1-town center aggression to get a good foothold on your opponent. And then if you can take that space, it's a lot more valuable. Take a look at what Metal Mania is doing. Let's see. He's got 2 town centers. So Metal Mania is on fewer town centers than Alexander is. And he's got more villagers, and he's doing 2 stables. So 2 stable, 2 town center. It generally has to add to 4. You can do 3 town centers and 1 stable, or you can do 1 town center and 3 stables for a very all-in push. But I really feel that Alexander would be heavily rewarded from pushing hard, doing some kind of crazy castle drop, or maybe making knights and crossing the river. Jasuni says 5 different options for connections. Oh, you gotta nitpick me, don't you? Come on. Sure, there's team connections, but teams are players. Teams are, well, yeah, I guess that's true. You can use them to create roads between allies. So, for instance, on Black Forest, there's a road between allies. Or on Team Islands, there's a road between allies. Jasuki says, I think I understand the theory, but then I just don't take it into account when creating maps, but find another way to do what I want. To be fair, connections are pretty, unless you need that specific thing, like Jasuni said, they don't really add much value. But where you need them, they're very important. But sometimes your map designs just don't really rely on them. Okay, so I like this. So Alexander's heavily on stone. He has to garrison in his town center. He should prioritize Bodkin. Or Fletching even. Fletching and Bodkin. Otherwise, this town center is actually going to lose to these knights. Alexander's resources are completely off. He's got 2,000 wood. And he's got 600 gold. So I think the pressure is really kind of getting to him. He is making monks now. And that'll be good. So that'll allow him to get some conversions and scare Metal Mania away. Potentially, it all really depends on what appeals to you. Yeah, it really just all depends on what appeals, and you can bypass the need for connections with a lot of different strategies. Oof, that monk going down. That is unfortunate. I did not see whether or not it got the conversion, but I do know that Metal Mania is in on Alexander's gold miners. That's not good. Alexander's got to get out of there. He's getting Sanctity now. I feel like Alexander's a little bit depressed here, because he should be throwing down like 4 monasteries right now. Like I don't know that this should be happening. Maybe he's distracted or something. I'm not sure, but he's got all these resources. Spend this. Let's take a look at Metal Mania's resources. Yeah, Metal Mania has fewer resources in the bank than Alexander does, and he's getting devotion now. Alexander making a single monk. Maybe he's depressed because he's off of water. I know I would be, but it's not over. We've seen players do a lot of damage by having like sneaks and aggression behind their opponent. Okay, Alexander managing to catch this with a quick wall. That's important. But yeah, he should be capable of making enough monks that a night rush like this should not really be a big problem. Alexander not even making villagers. He is retasking his knights, though. He's got one monk here. He did manage to get a conversion. Alright, Alexander wants to build a castle. He wants those gen bows. And Metalmania wants to build a castle, too. So here comes Metalmania. He sent a monk. He's got a bunch of knights, and these knights are going to be all over the castle building villagers. Yeah, I think this is GG. Buy 100 stone, then build a castle. So he is building a castle, and Alexander calling the GG. He's taking too much damage. Metalmania got him. So Metalmania with a very decisive win over Alexander. First winning on water, and then I guess catching Alexander off guard with a lot of knights. Good games all around. Yeah, look at this. 51 kills for Metalmania, 16 kills for Alexander. Alexander with 5 conversions, Metalmania with the largest army of 37. Metalmania with more food collected, twice as much food. Alexander with way more wood. Metalmania with more stone and gold. Alexander first to feudal age, Metalmania first to castle. But only by 1 second did Alexander lead. The rest of it was Metalmania microing the fires better. Metalmania with more map exploration and research count. And more villagers. Like, twice as many villagers, which is pretty decisive. Metalmania just pushing his advantage ever since feudal age. Hey, Crazy Joe, thank you for being here. I'm glad that you enjoy Alchemy League content. Alright, guys, so that is going to do it for me today. Happy Easter. Many thanks to all those folks that showed up and took time out of their busy day to watch some Age of Empires on this Easter Sunday. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you so much for your support of the League. We will catch you later.